All right, okay. Welcome traders to the weekly kickoff. Now, let's just have a look through what's going on in the market and then actually where the focus is, right? The This week, like some of the calendars don't necessarily always line up to be like a great looking week, but this one does, okay? And it's a multiple factor sort of thing where you get the trading conditions and the market, what's happening in the market itself. Sorry, just getting a little bit distracted there as I look around. Lining up with the economic numbers, certain numbers coming out just at the right time. Now we've got a situation here where most of the instruments, like the majors, okay, euros sort of almost undecided, trading sideways. We do have the ECB, I think Thursday, expected to cut. We'll see how that plays out. You get sterling, which is sort of hanging around the top part of the market, as is Aussie, Kiwi, a bit more mid-range. Dollar CAD, just, once again, sort of mid-range. Dollar Swiss, just trying to break down, but just not getting there in the dollar index, right? So basically, you look across the major instruments, and this is on a daily perspective. There's a couple of things building, or there's pressure building in the technical side of things. So I like to look at that. And if I just come back to the hourly charts, and if you've been following the market, you'll know that a lot of the numbers have just been coming out as expected, like not giving the market really the big push with the numbers, but we are sort of building up here, even on the hourly charts, right? We've got a number of instruments at sort of key levels or just trading mid-range. So we're going to have lots of opportunities, right? So let me just come back to the calendar because this is where you tie things in. Actually, just come over here to the news just for a second. The key thing you want to be doing at the start of like a Monday, right? We got 2 days of event risk over the weekend where various things can happen as far as sort of like international events. In the days gone by, terrorism, the odd war here and there, and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, the Israeli thing still gets a lot of airtime. Dollar set for first monthly drop after US inflation readout. Now, these are sort of headlines that sort of catch your attention. Really, the devil is in the detail and knowing what they're doing. The Fed officials have been coming out saying, yeah, but look, we're looking to cut at some stage, but we're not doing it just at the moment, right? That's sort of where they are, which is just stating the obvious, which we know from what they've been telling us. Now, this is where the week really comes into play. Now, first week of the month, right? So you can always sort of scroll down to the end of the first week of the month and you get the big hairy numbers, right? Employment numbers. Now, trading employment numbers, they're a great indication of what's happening in the market. But as far as a trading event, they are a nightmare, right? You can get your account flipped upside down very quickly just on because there's a number of different things released, like Aussie, UK a little bit, and Canadian employment numbers are a little bit easier because you don't have several numbers coming out. But the non-farm payrolls themselves, there's almost too many components to manage the trading opportunity. So I wouldn't call these great trading events, but they will tell us a lot about what the Fed is going to be doing. So trading after them, and I'm talking about even trading them like a couple of minutes after, or a minute after the event can be something that you do. But why I've gone straight to Friday's non-farm payrolls, every second month the Canadian numbers come out at the same time. It's because this will come up on all your news services a lot, right? First week of the month, first Friday, always non-farm payrolls, and they sort of start building it up as the major event. I can tell you it's a calamity, so don't get suckered into that. Now, we do have a number of things coming out this week. There's a whole bunch of PMI stuff you can see here on Monday. Yeah, mate, let's just see how the markets reconnect after the weekend and see if there's any sort of major flow, right? The numbers from Friday weren't exactly setting the house on fire. Now this is where the week I think changes for us, right? Even like it's later today, right? So the ISM manufacturing PMI numbers. Now we saw the manufacturing numbers last month they came out slightly variant, and we saw the market sort of kick into gear. Now, the best thing about this is it's at the start of the week. It's very rare that we get US numbers at the start. Sometimes you get retail sales on a Tuesday, or you get something coming out, but these manufacturing numbers come out at a time when we are looking at, where the major instruments, okay, are sitting there sort of mid-range. They're ready to sort of go up or down. We're waiting for the final number to drop to sort of put the nail in the coffin of the dollar, right? Or not, or it could actually just go straight up. And that's where we are. So we've got like things like dollar CAD, right? Drifting downside. Okay. We've got a little bit of dollar weakness, but oil is falling. So that's a bit of a conflicting one. It's a little bit oversold. You know, oil usually wins. So am I looking to sell dollar CAD on the downside? Probably not at the moment, right? Obviously Friday's Canadian employment numbers will go some way to determining that, but I like to see an easier trade where everything lines up. Now, Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi at the bottom here. The market is frothing for an opportunity here to get into these pairs. Now, ECB expected to cut rates this week. Yeah, great. That's factored in. What isn't factored in are the numbers that I'm sort of looking at here, and the ISM manufacturing number. It's a good sort of second tier number that will give us a potential opportunity. Now, I've got it down as a live trading event. It's not sort of great times for myself. It comes out at midnight, but I'll do my best to get there. Now, funnily enough, I am flying to New Zealand first thing in the morning, so I've got to get up at 3 a.m. as well. So anyway, I'm planning to run this because why? Because it's an opportunity for me to make money, right? That's what this is. And it can set us up for opportunities through the course of the week. So as you go sort of through the rest of this, like Tuesday, it's like there's not a lot going on. This JOLTS job openings, right? It's a sort of nothing number, but you know, because employment is such a big vibe at the moment, it is, you know, it's out as red. I just can't see that. The factory orders is probably a little bit more important. Aussie GDP numbers, well, you know what? We're probably not quite there with the GDP numbers yet because the central bank is still trying to hold on to or talking about interest rates and inflation and employment. So the Aussie GDP numbers, traditionally they are a high impacting number. I don't think they're going to be, that's going to be anything really major to look at. The Bank of Canada interest rate decision. Okay, so the consensus here is for a 0.25% cut. Now, you've got all these events, all these central bank ones. You've got the decision, right? The statement will come out at the same time, and then the press conference. Now, don't get your heart set on a position from the statement because they can turn things around in their press conference if the market has misinterpreted what they've said in the statement. That's usually what they do. They take the press conference and they see the reaction of the market after the number, and then they will come out and say, the market's misinterpreted what we've said here, right? This is what we're doing. So just be aware there. That's like a two-pronged event. There's a good 45 minutes in between. So you know what? The market can sort of whip about. I'm expecting a cut we'll wait and see how things are going, right? The central banks aren't in a position at this point to sort of say cut and then they say we're going to cut again and again, right? That's panic. I do expect them to cut and just say, okay, we're going to see how things roll from here. Pretty standard stuff, right? You come into Thursday, balance of trade. I wouldn't be like getting overly excited about that. Then you've got the ECB, right? Is the major event, 0.25% factored in, cut. Same as the Bank of Canada, right? This is a two-pronged event where you've got the decision and then you've got the press conference afterwards, right? So only half an hour afterwards, they will tell us a bit more about what's going on. So these events, right, the cuts are in. If you wanted a sort of simple trade, and you were, say, busy working or doing these sorts of things, you can set up Guerrilla Trader here and actually just place a trade on the top side here, right? So say, for instance, the ECB didn't cut rates. Well, Euro is going to shoot up, right? Because of a cut has been factored in. And that's the same for dollar Canada here as well, right? Once again, if you're tied up and you want to cover all bases, well, I tell you what, put a stop on the to buy Canadian dollars, okay? Because if they don't cut rates, the Canadian dollar will go sort of through the roof on the immediate announcement, okay? So that's like a no-brainer because obviously the cut has been factored in. If they don't do it, the market's got to correct that imbalance. So you come into Thursday, right? This is where we're getting, you got the weekly claims. The weekly claims has been really stabilized. I think the ECB press conference will be very interesting to see or hear from Christine Lagarde. She's doing a good job of managing things there. It'll be what we want to know is if they've cut rates, are they going to be looking to cut again and again? I think at this stage, to manage things properly, they'll just do the same old thing. We cut and we'll sit back and wait and see how the numbers drop. That's the usual way of it, right? So, and then you come into Friday. Now, if you haven't made your money during the week, just be careful, right? I think there's a bit of Euro activity, employment, GDP growth numbers out of the Eurozone. It's a something if you're around. Halifax price index out of the UK, and then you get into the messy stuff, right? The non-farm payrolls. To me, as I said, I would be warning you about jumping all over these. But if we get some answers from the ISM manufacturing numbers and then this big number here and the factory orders as well, the jobless claims, if they line up, say, in particular with weak numbers for the manufacturing, and then we get weak employment numbers, well, now we're starting to connect the dots. You need about 3 or 4 good, solid fundamental drivers or numbers, indicators. That's what these things are. They're indications, right? Of economic activity. If we get a bunch of these all lining up on the weak side, and they don't have to be significantly weak, but just weaker, well, then it paints the picture and then it moves the Fed into a cutting sort of bias, or the market will be factoring in rate cuts in the US sooner, and then we get the big push down, right? And that can come. The market will be anticipating that straight away from the ISM manufacturing data. So I think this is this number here to me is the cleanest and best potential opportunity we have, right? A lot of the other numbers are going to be sort of rolling around here and there. We've got obviously the Bank of Canada, we've got the ECB, but this is a number. You can't get mistaken here for what the number is. And that's what I like about the whole setup. Now, just looking at don't forget each day at the start of the start of the week, we've got a risk on profile, US equity futures up. We've got Euro, Sterling, Aussie, Kiwi just going up as well, and the dollar generally going down, right? Now, I haven't gone sort of far at this point, but just trade with the flow, right? If you're looking to get short, maybe wait till this thing peters out, or you come back and just look at your technicals and then just look for areas where you know what's going on, directional wise, short-term momentum, and then you can sort of piece it together. So pretty much that's the weekly kickoff, right? The Tuesday or later today, Monday in the North American session, we will have those ISM manufacturing numbers. It's a big number towards business confidence, right? That's the main crux of it. So I would be sort of just going through your charts and fine-tuning things, right? Like this dollar Swiss, this is with these trading view charts. You got to wait for the data to download. It really bugs me. Okay, so really sort of focusing on instruments that have clear direction or are waiting for direction, right? So that's what I'll be doing through the course of the day. You can actually do your analysis now. This number, right, that is coming out, to me, for those traders who aren't in a sort of good time zone, you can pretty much set up Guerrilla Trader just to execute, right? Like dollar Swiss is going down. It wants to go down. It's fighting it. We get weak numbers here. It will go down. You can just potentially just place Guerrilla Trader. You don't even have to get out of bed to put that trade on, right? You can set that up during the course of the day. If you've got a great technical setup, you can do that. Otherwise, if you want greater control over the situation, you'd obviously watch the release of the event, and then you can make better trading decisions. The only thing is, if you place a pending order and you get into the market here, then you're at the mercy of the markets, because, depending if the number has large variance, medium variance, or low variance, you could get triggered one way or the other. Trading live and watching it, you can still use the order structure of the Guerrilla Trader, but seeing the numbers live, you can make decisions obviously very quickly, and that's an easier thing to do. So, looking at the market and the numbers that are coming out now, just plan your trading week, right? So to me, I like this part. I will be sort of having a crack at that. Whether I'm using a pending order, I should be looking at the markets live so I can make a decision around this range. Okay, see what's going on there, and then we can go. I can sort of see what's going on. Once we got the edge on the dollar, like what would suck, right, is that this number here comes out as expected, right on that number, right? Even a little bit of strength or weakness would be good. A number below 48.7 would be great. Really puts the heebie-jeebies up the market and gets the dollar rolling to the downside. Or a number above that, and it corrects the sort of short-term little bit of weakness we've had in there. That, to me, is all I need to be focusing on for the start of the week. And then I'll piece the rest of the week together, depending on what happens there. Okay? Not a lot Tuesday. As I said, the factory orders, durable goods. If you're in that North America session, definitely have a look at those. Like durable goods, that's a good number, right? But then you do have this jobs jolt openings. So then you come into Wednesday, you've got the Bank of Canada, we've got the ECB Thursday. It starts to get a little bit messy, right? Because unless you've got a lot more experience, it's not hard to interpret what they're doing, but you've got the decision, the statement, and then the press conference. Don't forget the press conference, because that could be the defining direction for the instrument, right? 0.25 is factored in. Don't get excited about an interest rate cut. It's about what they say is going to happen next. That's for the Bank of Canada and the ECB, right? So you got that. Then you go into Friday, non-farm payrolls. What we're trying to do is, for the life of us, is just find, we've got these daily charts, right? We just want some sort of form of direction. None of this up, down, not going anywhere stuff, right? We've got instruments that have got really good technical levels across the board. With the dollar releases, you're looking at the majors. If we're looking at the other external ones, just keep an eye on the crosses, right? Like dollar CAD, to me, it wants to go down, right? We're just going to see if it can sort of line itself up with that, right? And I've actually just got to, while I'm there, you might have noticed I have not inverted that. So if I just come over here, invert scale, it's done the wrong one. I hope that's inverted. It should be inverted already. I'll come back and tune that up. I'll have a look. Trading view, it's got me a little bit stumped. We should have the other axis there, so I'll fix that up. But then, so just look for your bigger trends on your daily charts. If we see some opportunities, and this is why I like the look of dollar Swiss. When the dollar Swiss has been leading the charge, and about conspiracy theories, I always think the Swiss, they don't mind cheating in these financial markets. So that goes back to January 15, 2015, very dodgy. So check out this line here, right? And this is one of those lines that, I would sort of draw. It's more of a common sense line, right? Since it's been above here, it's just been holding in. You could probably even take it to that bottom line. But we've got a sort of level here down through 90, the figure, okay, in dollar Swiss. There's either some sort of massive option structure here, or something that I don't know about that is holding this thing in. But I tell you what, it breaks down from here. It's a nice, easy move to the downside. This is where that ISM manufacturing number comes into play. So for me, dollar Swiss has got to be on your radar, right? Get that on your radar. Keep an eye on the other instruments, and then we can piece together where the momentum and direction's coming from. And that's all you need to be sort of focusing on. Like at the start of the week, just to come back to that, I don't sort of focus too far. I focus on the next best trading opportunity, and that's the one that's right in front of me, and that's the ISM manufacturing numbers. Okay, so with these numbers here, it gives me a chance, and then I'll start to piece it together. I want to know when the central bank meetings are, Bank of Canada, ECB, non-farm payrolls. They're the big head kickers. Maybe they're trading opportunities, maybe they're not, but we'll work it out as we go through the week. So lots of potential. We just need the penny to drop, right? We just need the numbers, these ISM manufacturing numbers to drop for us, then we're on, right? And then you start to accumulate some capital. All right, guys, any questions on that? It's a bit of a rush sort of run through, but I don't want to sort of dwell on the week ahead too much. I've seen people doing videos and they go forever and it sort of bores you to tears. If anything, that's gone probably too long in my view anyway. It's about just focusing on the key events for the week. Where's momentum and direction potentially going to come from? And where is the first trading opportunity? And I think we've covered those. Any questions? Yeah.
Right. Judging to this side, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm a little bit confused when we say that, for example, the Canada or European interest rates are already been implemented. So, for example, for this week, I have to make my forecast or decision. So shall I see a week ahead? I mean, second week of June to make my decision for this week's because if ECB interest rate is already been implemented.
No, so the rate cut has been
Um,
implemented. Well, you can say it's been implemented. So these are still key key information will come from these. The statement will be new, right? And what they say in the press conference, that is what we're trading, really. That's the tradable side. And that's why these events can be really sticky, because if they're a bit ambiguous, which they like to be sometimes, then it might be, does that mean they're like hawkish or dovish or what are they doing? So no. What all where let me just get this thing up, because what you got to focus on is, okay, the rate decision, or the this thing here, right? The cut that has been fully factored in, or just about fully factored in. It's very rare that it's always 100%, but it's probably like 90% factored in. They're going to cut rates. So when they do cut rates, it'll probably go down just a little bit, like 10 points, right? Where the decision, where the trading opportunity comes from is the statement and the press conference afterwards. Okay. So with that, obviously, and you would know that if they don't cut rates, because it's already been so fully factored in, then that event can turn into a dollar, or the Canadian dollar can just rally if they don't cut rates. But this is what the central banks do. They like to wait and wait and wait. Then they tell the market what they're going to do. So there's no sudden shocks to the market. Okay. So the interest rate cut is not the trading opportunity, right? It's the statement and the press conference afterwards. Does that make sense, Regina?
Yeah, that makes sense at least for this one, but I'm still not getting the picture that, for example, if I have to make the sentiment, so I should look into the week ahead as well from the next week if this is important, even for example, some red or really
No,
hot,
not really.
even
No,
then
no.
that.
So just let the events roll. So everything stems from this point. So what they say in their statement and their press conference, that'll tell you what to focus on from here next week or whenever it is. You don't need to look
Okay.
forward and go, okay, there's numbers coming up. I want to get short some of these things. You can of course be planning it like you are and having a look forward to what's happening next week, see what numbers are coming up. Um, but you don't need to sort of get too far ahead of yourself. You just need to say, okay, we've got these numbers. Next week, there's a couple that if they were also weak, it would keep going down. But we sort of cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay, clear.
Any other questions there, Lana, James, Shelley?
No, thanks, mate.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. Anyway, there's a bit to do. There's a little bit of just do some analysis. As I said today, I'm going to do my best to get to this live release, this ISM manufacturing number. It's a good one, right? Just to start the week. I'll be looking at that as a starting point. Even if you're not trading the event, just check it out, right? Or if you wake up the next day, have a look at that and see what the number was. See if it lined up with what's happening in the market. To me, the markets are in a state of like flux. They're waiting for something to happen, and this is a good number. It kicked into gear last month, and let's see how it goes from here, right? So that's the main focal point for me, and I'm suggesting for you guys just keep an eye on it very closely. It could set us up at the start of the week for a bit of dollar direction, but we do need ideally something outside the range. Would be our absolute big wish, right? We get something outside the range here of the forecast. We get a trading opportunity, and then we're on. All right, guys, we'll have a good one. I'll be online if you need any questions answered, and then we'll see how we go from here.